Hi Andy. I have a reading list in my bullet journal. And it's kind of getting out of hand. Do you ever feel like you just don't have a time to read anymore? Do you remember when we were in high school and the very first thing that you and I bonded over was our mutual love of the Aragon books? And then I also haven't read that series in probably 6 years. And that's a shame, because I loved those books when I was in high school. But even more than that, there's lots of other things to read too. So I'm just going to go through my reading list today. So starting with the classics, I reread all of the Harry Potter books every year. And usually I do it around Christmas time. So I'm kind of gearing up and getting ready for that. So I'm going to have to clear my reading list, my reading schedule, so that when Christmas time comes around, I actually have free time to. And one of the things I really love about these books is that they have brought in so much enrichment to my life, whether it is Accio Deathly Hallows from Hank Green and the Perfect Strangers, or whether it is Harry Potter and the Sacred Text, a podcast that I really appreciate. These books just continue to be enriching even outside of the text itself. And there's other books on my reading list from when I was a kid that I would love to reread again. These are all of the Gordon Corman On the Run and the companion series Kidnapped. And these ones I absolutely adored when I was a kid. And I was thinking about them recently, and I have a couple students who I think might really, really enjoy these. So I think I need to reread them again and then label them and, well, actually I already labeled them. See how they all say Blau Camp on the cover? And then put them in my classroom for kids to read. It's cool to see that these books that I used to be so obsessed with when I was 13 could be used in my classroom for my students who are currently 13. And then outside the nostalgia factor, there are other books that I want to reread as well. So if I look at this stack here, down here I have the Welcome to Night Vale novel, which I read once and kind of thought was kind of dumb, and I thought maybe if I read it again, it might be a little bit better. So I gotta try that one again. And then I have Sunny and Ghost, which are books 1 and 3 of the Track series by Jason Reynolds. And book 4 is coming out hopefully in April. I don't really remember. And I'm really excited for that. I want to reread this series again before the 4th one comes out so that I'm all caught up and ready to go. But my friend Maddie has book 2. So I better get that back from her. Also, fun fact, this one is signed by all of the students in the classroom that I student taught in. You can't really see it back there. Oh, that's because I'm on the wrong page. Isn't that cool? And then there's Fish in a Tree, which I accidentally took from a co-teacher and forgot to return, but he never asked for it back, so I think it's fine. And it is about a 5th grade student who can't read because she has dyslexia, and nobody has ever attempted to help her read before. And it's just a really interesting way of thinking about how reading affects our lives and makes an impact. So I really want to read this one again because I have students who have dyslexia, and I want to double check that this book would be appropriate for them to read too. Now let's get started on the new books. They fall into just about every genre that you can think of. So starting over here in the back, I've got YA. Selection stories. I read the Selection, The Elite, and The One this summer, and I absolutely loved them. And these are just a collection of short stories that kind of fit into that world, so I really would love to read this again. This was one of the very first book series that kind of pulled me in the same way that some of my favorite ones from when I was younger pulled me in. So it was really cool to be part of that again. It's dystopian. It is about an America after the democracy has fallen. And then I have The Burning Maze, which is another one in the Percy Jackson series. I bought this in, I don't even know, April, and I still haven't read it yet. Granted, I am 2 chapters in, but I think I better just start over because I didn't even attempt to read it this summer. And then I have, also from the YA section, The Program and the Treatment, which I just thought sounded good. It's about a world where suicide is like an epidemic, and it's about how, I have no idea what else it is about, but it is a teenagery book, and, sometimes you just want to kind of experience what your students are experiencing. So there's those. Other books in that pathway would be Matched, Crossed, and Reached. When I was student teaching, my students were super obsessed with these, and I found them at the Macosta bookstore. I think it was $9 for the whole set, and I was like, heck yeah. So I'll put those in my classroom too, but those ones I do still need to label. And then last one in that YA series, well, I guess I actually have two more. An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. I am like 6 chapters in, and I cannot get through this. Like, every time I sit down to read, something happens. Oh, Jess, there's an issue with this thing at school. Oh, Jess, you forgot to plan a lesson. Oh, Jess, you have to do laundry. So, you know, there's that too. And then last on my list of YA, A Map of Days. This is the 4th book in the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children books. I thought they were over with the end of book 3, and I'm just really excited that there's a book 4. And I'm really also excited because these books have really, if I could get the page open, have some really great, like, old-timey pictures, and I really enjoy that in a book. It's kind of good to get those visuals in. So, looking forward to reading that one too. Oh, I forgot, this one's also very YA. It's called Echo. I'm not exactly sure what it's about, but I loved the cover. I just thought it looked really nice. So I'm going to read that one too. Oh, I just knocked down my stack. And then I have 3 books here that are not YA. No, I have 4 books here that are not YA. And I just wanted to share these with you too because I think it's good to read varied text. So I have here Magnolia Story by Chip and Joanna Gaines because I absolutely adore their show Fixer Upper. It's seriously so cute. And so I've got that one to read because, I mean, I think they're even cuter on paper than they are on TV. And then I have Devil in the White City. I listened to a podcast called No Dumb Questions, and they did a book review of this back in, like, February. And I still haven't listened to that show yet because I still haven't read it. This is about a serial killer, like the first serial killer in America at the Chicago World's Fair in, 1893, I think? Yeah. So Devil in the White City just sounds like such an interesting, it's like nonfiction, it's a historical book. And I'm really excited because usually historical books kind of bore me, but could something called Devil in the White City ever be boring? Then I have a book that my friend Jacob lent to me like a year ago. It's called On a Custom Earth. It is poems, and I don't usually do a ton of poems. Oh no, it's not poems. It's definitely short stories. I think so. I don't know. So I am looking for, like, you can tell that I clearly haven't read this, but it just seems like such a great book to read. Yeah, it's short stories. It just seems like such a great book to read, especially since my friend Jacob suggested it to me. It just sounds like, you know, something that, like, you know, when people suggest books to you, it's something that's just kind of intimate, and I'm really excited that I have the opportunity to kind of jump into his mind and see what he was thinking when he suggested this book to me. Last one here, theology book, You Are What You Love, and it is about, like, you know, what you put your time into and what you love is going to be like who you become. And this is a book suggestion from my friend Maddie. I absolutely adore getting book suggestions. And I also love theology books, and it's been a really long time since I've read one. So You Are What You Love, I got it at Baker Bookhouse because Maddie loves Baker Bookhouse, and we got to go there a couple weeks ago, and I'm just super excited about that too. So after showing you all of these books that are on my reading list, I have a book suggestion for you. Yay! So I recently just finished, where did I set it? It's the real question. Here it is, right in front of me. Okay, so I recently just finished this book. It's called Crazy. It is by Han Nolan, and it is just like a really, really good YA book. One of my students suggested that I read it, and it is about a boy who has, like, multiple personality disorder, and he is trying to take care of his dad, who also is suffering from mental illness, and the way that it impacts his life and how people coming into his life really changes him for the better. So Crazy by Han Nolan isn't necessarily one that you hear about all the time, but I really, really enjoyed it, so check it out. You can borrow my copy if you want. Yeah, I better get busy. I'll see you on Thursday, Andy. Bye.